Hi, welcome back to Food and Whatever. This is your host, Christina. This is going to be a very quick, easy dish. I had done a bread shepherd's pie bowl before in one of my previous shows, and this is kind of like a continuance to it. But instead of a shepherd's pie, I'm actually going to do a pasta bowl, a biscuit pasta bowl. It's the same concept with the bowl inside, but I'm going to be putting the pasta and the cheese and the meat sauce along with the biscuits in the oven. So it's actually, again, in one of the one-dish meals. What I have over here is I have 3 cloves of garlic that are already cut and sliced thinly. I have about a cup of onions, and I went ahead and diced some fresh tomatoes. I'm also going to be using buttermilk biscuits. Your favorite pasta. Tonight I kind of felt like doing a soup-style pasta, so I got rigatoni. Kosher sauce, of course. This is some leftover pasta sauce that I had, but I'm not going to just throw it in and mix it. I'm actually going to make it into my own. This is kind of like my base. Also have black pepper, some Italian seasoning, and oil. So let's go ahead and get started by adding the pasta. Again, this one takes a little bit longer than the long pasta. So I'm just going to add about half. And it's going to take about 10 to 13 minutes, or make sure that it's al dente. Right over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a tablespoon, and I'm kind of eyeing it, a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of oil. If you don't want to use oil, you can that much oil, you can always reduce it. I'm going to go ahead and start going to throw in my garlic and my onions and my fresh tomatoes, so all of that could start releasing the flavors. Then I'll throw in my meat, make sure that it breaks up, and I'm going to add my meat sauce that I bought in a jar already. So let's go ahead and drop it in. And I'm going to go ahead and separate my biscuits. This one brings, how much is it? 10 biscuits. So if you're a family of 3 to 4, you can actually split your biscuits into each bowl. Again, like I had showed before, you kind of want to set your biscuits around, but when they do grow, they kind of make a little cover and keep that dish inside very, very hot. So I'm just going to go ahead and separate them. And to this, I'm going to use cheese, but I have cheese sticks left. Then I'm going to add this to the pasta before I stick it into the oven. And what I want to do is I'm not going to cut it lengthwise. I'm actually going to cut it with the round, so I could also place the circles around, just like I do the biscuits. You can cut them to the thickness that you want. I have about, I'm calling it about 1/4 of an inch or less. But if you want to cut them thicker, you can. It depends on the size that you want. I'm just going to use 1 cheese stick right now. And I'm going to continue cooking that, and I'm going to stir my pasta every so often to make sure that they're not sticking. And you should always follow, if you're using pasta from a box, always follow the instructions from it. If you are making your own pasta, then you know as soon as your pasta is floating, it only takes a few minutes to cook, a lot less longer than these dry pastas. I'm going to go ahead and put half a teaspoon of kosher salt. Remember, I'm using a sauce that's already been seasoned by the company, so I gotta also remind myself that I don't want to put too much salt because then it'll end up being very, very salty. I'm gonna go ahead and put 1 whole teaspoon of Italian seasoning to this, and and a half teaspoon of black pepper. I'm going to mix that well. Right now I'm going to go ahead and also add my ground beef. What I have here is maybe like 4 ounces of ground beef. It's not too much. But you don't have to use ground beef for any type of meat. If you want it, you can actually leave it completely vegetarian. That's the route that you want to take. The great thing about this dish is that it is a pasta dish, so you can add any sauce. I would be careful with creamy sauces, the one that has dairy in it, like Alfredo sauce, because it could burn easily in the oven. So I like to stick with red sauce instead. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in my ground beef in pieces. Like I said, this is just the base of my sauce. If you want to make tiny little meatballs, or stuffed tiny little meatballs, that would be even great. But you gotta keep in mind that you are making a one bowl meal, that you don't want to overstuff it, and it will stay in your oven a little bit longer because of the simple fact that you are going to be putting biscuits on top like we did for the shepherd's pie. I also wanted to mention that I did go ahead and start my oven and preheating. I am following the directions of the biscuits. The one that I have here is at 400 degrees, and it's 10 to 15 minutes with the biscuits by themselves. Because I am putting it on the bowl with other items, I'm going to extend it maybe to another few more minutes, maybe 15 to 16 minutes, and I will check and see how those biscuits are doing underneath. So as you can see, my ground beef is almost ready for my basis for my sauce. And all the flavors will actually combine very, very well into the sauce. And again, you're making that pre-made sauce in a jar, making it your own. Believe me, a lot of people wouldn't even know that you bought that from the store pre-made. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and add, I have about half a jar of marinara. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I'm not going to use the whole jar, because I want my pasta to be coated but not completely drenched in it. But again, that's my way of liking my pasta. If you want to drench your pasta with sauce, that's to your preference. So I added about 1.5 to 2 cups of sauce to my ground beef. I had my garlic, my onion, my Italian seasoning, salt, pepper, and fresh tomato juice here. I'm just going to let that cook for a bit until my pasta is ready. And let me check my pasta, and it still needs a few more minutes. So I'm just going to let this come to a boil and let it simmer until my pasta is ready. Once my pasta is ready, then I can go ahead and bring it all together. I'm not going to put the pasta and the sauce separated. I want to incorporate all of that together, and then I will place the cheese on top along with the biscuit. Okay, so now my pasta seems to be ready. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off and drain it. And I'm also going to turn off my sauce, which is already done. As I always say in every show, you got to taste your food. You got to see how it tastes. So that's good with salt, it's good with pepper. Now right now I'm going to go ahead and drain this. Still I don't have a drainer, but I'm going to buy me one. Maybe I need to go to the dollar store, that's what I need to go to. Make sure that you do not burn yourself if you do drain it. If you do drain it this way. So I'm going to go ahead and drain it. I'm going to go ahead and toss in the sauce, the meat sauce that I made into the pasta itself. And I want to make sure, especially the ones, if you have any pastas that are not long, like spaghetti, penne, rigati, regular penne, rigatoni, shell, You want to make sure that it gets incorporated. Those shells will get that pasta inside, so mix it very, very well. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to bring this over. That way we can go ahead and fill up our bowl. And we'll just turn it over. And I'm going to split these up. So I'm going to go, and if you have too much pasta, save it for another day. Save it for, leftover pasta, or one of your kids don't want one of these bowls and serve them in a separate plate. We already have the pasta already made with the sauce and everything else. As you can see, I made a little bit too much pasta, so this will actually be my boyfriend's lunch for tomorrow. Okay, and then we go ahead and put this over here, and the piece of the onion escapes. Okay. So now to this. What I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and place those little dots around of mozzarella that I cut from the mozzarella cheese stick. I'm going to place them here so that the top will be cheesy. I'm going to place the biscuits. I'm going to put 3 for me. My boyfriend loves bread, so I'm going to place 4 for him. Or if you want, you can actually put split it 5 and 5. But that's all it is to it. And all you have to do is place it into the oven. I have a pan over here that I'm going to go ahead, just like the shepherd's pie. I don't want to set the bowl directly onto the rack, especially because the bowl could tilt over. And then one side will be burned and the other one will not. So I actually have a pan, a baking sheet right here, so I'm going to be placing my bowls in, and I'm going to put it to bake. I'm going to start with 13 minutes, the highest amount of time that the biscuits themselves set in the soup, and then we'll go from there. Again, because you have food underneath, as I said on a shepherd's pie, you will have to check the bottom of the biscuit to make sure it's not doughy. Okay? So within 13 minutes, we'll be back and we will be showing you how it looks. Alright, so my timer went off, and on this I actually had to add 3 more minutes, like I said, because of the biscuits sitting on food, it will take probably a little bit more time. So in total, it took me 16 minutes to have them done. So let's go ahead and as I had said previously, you got to be very, very careful to not burn yourself, especially when you have them in the ceramic bowl. They do stay very, very hot. Make sure you turn off your oven. And get a brush. I'm going to get some butter, and I'm actually going to brush the top of the biscuits with this butter. And if you want to add garlic salt to your biscuits and make it more like a garlic bread, you're more than welcome to. But I'm just going to add the butter to make it into buttery biscuits. Okay. Go ahead and close that up. Okay. Get a fork. I'm going to show you real quick. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. The biscuits are done, completely done. The pasta's in here, and you have that cheese right there, exactly right there, that gooiness in the cheese. So as usual, let's go ahead and taste it. Make sure you do not burn yourself. It's really, really hot. This is my biscuit pasta bowl. It is a one dish meal. It is very, very simple to make, very, very easy, and you will get really full from it. So let's go ahead and take this while I'm trying not to burn myself. So my mom's kind of full. This is one of my boyfriend's, another one of his favorite meals because it's very easy to make. It's all compacted in one bowl. And I've actually gotten some people to do the shepherd's pie in actually bigger casseroles, and they actually love it. So this is the Biscuit possible. I hope that you guys enjoy the show. And if you do make it, put it on my Facebook or put it on my Twitter. Yes, I know I have a Twitter. Or put it on at foodandwhatever.com. And I hope to hear from you soon. As I always say, thank you for watching. Have fun, enjoy, and God bless.